Have you ever wondered if you're truly living your best life, especially as you grow older? Are you stuck in the patterns of trying to please others or holding on to toxic relationships, wondering why you feel drained and unfulfilled? The truth is that aging brings challenges, but also incredible opportunities to live more authentically, more peacefully, and with deeper connections. In today's video, we're diving into 9 harsh but empowering tips that every elderly person must hear to navigate this stage of life with strength and clarity. By the end, you'll understand how to protect your peace, stop living to please others, distance yourself from negativity, and embrace the possibilities ahead. You'll learn why trusting wisely is crucial and how it directly impacts your emotional well-being, as well as the importance of setting boundaries and no longer waiting for validation. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by family pressure or trapped in relationships that drain you, this video is for you. So, stay with us until the end because these tips aren't just about surviving old age. They're about embracing a life full of purpose, joy, and respect. Don't miss out on the transformative steps that could change the way you approach the years ahead. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. Trust wisely and protect your peace. As we walk through the many chapters of life, trust gradually becomes the bedrock upon which every relationship is built. It is the invisible thread that ties us to others, weaving bonds that can sustain us through life's most challenging moments. But as we grow older, trust takes on an even deeper, more fragile meaning. It is no longer simply the foundation of friendships or familial connections. It becomes a profound safeguard for our emotional and mental well-being, a treasure that, once broken, can leave us feeling vulnerable and exposed. With every year that passes, the need for meaningful relationships intensifies. The desire to connect with others deepens. Yet, as we reach this stage of life, so too does the risk of encountering individuals whose intentions are not aligned with our best interests. Loneliness, often a silent companion in our later years, starts to whisper in our ears, suggesting that any company is better than no company at all. And in those quiet, often solitary moments, it's easy to yearn for companionship. The warmth of another person to fill the silence, someone to share your thoughts, your memories, and the many emotions that linger in the heart. This longing for connection is entirely natural, but it also carries a quiet danger. It makes us susceptible to those who are not interested in uplifting us, but in using us for their benefit. Sadly, not everyone who enters your life has your happiness at heart. Some will see your kindness as an opportunity, an opening to take rather than give, to feed off your energy and generosity without offering anything of value in return. They might sense your need for connection and your moments of loneliness, and use these to manipulate you into giving more than you're able to, or should. A friendly smile, a kind word, these gestures can feel so real, so comforting, but sometimes, lurking behind them are motives far from pure. And it's in these moments, when trust feels betrayed, that the heart breaks just a little more. Perhaps you've experienced this firsthand. The person who seems to appear only when you're at your lowest, offering their support when you're struggling, but mysteriously vanishing the moment things begin to improve. They seem to thrive in your vulnerability, perhaps even to feed off it, taking emotionally, financially, or even energetically, leaving you feeling drained and questioning your worth. It's a painful realization, a tough pill to swallow, to acknowledge that someone you trusted may have been taking more than they gave. And while it's easy to feel disillusioned or even angry, it's important to remember that this experience doesn't mean that trust itself is a curse. Rather, it's an invitation to learn the delicate art of trusting wisely. Trust is a precious thing. It is not meant to be given away recklessly or without thought. It is something that should be bestowed only upon those who truly deserve it, those who have earned it through their actions, through the consistency of their character, and their unwavering respect for your well-being. Protecting your peace means listening to the whispers of your intuition, and paying attention to the subtle signs that reveal the true nature of those around you. True friends, the ones who are worthy of your trust, will never pressure you and never use your vulnerability against you. They will honor your boundaries, respect your space, and offer you support not because they seek something in return, but because they genuinely care about who you are and want to see you thrive. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. To trust wisely, we must also master the delicate art of setting boundaries. It is not selfish to say no when something feels off. It is, in fact, one of the most important acts of self-respect you can offer yourself. Boundaries are not walls that isolate us from others. They are gates that we control, letting in only those who bring light, positivity, and love into our lives. They are a shield that protects the most sacred parts of us, our peace, our dignity, our sense of self-worth. Imagine, just for a moment, a life where you are surrounded by people who genuinely care for you, people who lift you rather than weigh you down. Picture the joy of knowing that the relationships you cultivate are rooted in mutual respect, trust, and sincerity. Can you feel the peace that comes from knowing that you are valued, not for what you can give, but simply for who you are? That kind of peace is priceless, and it is not something that happens by accident. It begins with the decision to trust wisely, to recognize when someone is deserving of your trust, and to protect your heart from those who would take advantage of it. The years ahead are far too precious to be spent with people who don't see your true worth. Life is fleeting, and while the world can often feel cold and unkind, there are still people out there who will cherish you for the person you are. By learning to trust wisely and by guarding your peace, you create space in your life for these real, meaningful connections to blossom. It's not just a gift to yourself, it's a gift to everyone who loves and respects you. And most importantly, it is a gift to your heart, which deserves to be nurtured, protected, and cared for, always. 2. Stop living to please others. For much of our lives, we are conditioned to measure our worth through the lens of how much we give to others. From childhood, we are taught that our value is determined by our ability to care for those around us, our families, our friends, and our loved ones. We pour our hearts into making them happy, often placing their needs above our own, and for many years, this feels like the right thing to do. There is a deep, beautiful love in giving, but over time, this devotion can become a double-edged sword. What starts as a loving sacrifice can subtly transform into a draining and soul-depleting cycle. The more we give, the less we have for ourselves, and before we know it, we're left feeling empty, unfulfilled, and worst of all, disconnected from our desires and dreams. As we step into the later years of our lives, there comes a moment, an incredibly vital moment, when we must ask ourselves, have I earned the right to care for myself? The answer, without a doubt, is yes. For so long, you've given your time, your energy, your love, and your heart to others. Now, it's your time. This stage of life isn't about endless self-sacrifice or always putting the needs of others first. It's about reawakening the parts of yourself that have long been forgotten or overlooked. It's about finding the courage to reclaim the time and energy you've so freely given, and redirecting the devotion toward your joy, fulfillment, and peace of mind. The truth is, the pressure to please others doesn't magically fade as we age. Family, especially family, can place heavy, unspoken expectations on us. We might feel as if we are always the ones to show up for our children, grandchildren, or extended family, always putting their needs ahead of our own. But here's the raw, undeniable truth. Love does not require you to erase your identity in the process. You can love deeply, you can care passionately, but you also need to honor your own needs and dreams. Your happiness matters too. It is not selfish to pursue your happiness. It is essential. Imagine, for a moment, waking up every morning and choosing yourself. Choosing the things that bring you joy, the hobbies and passions you once set aside. Imagine permitting yourself to live for you. This is not an indulgence. This is a right you've earned after years of giving. You've spent your life pouring your heart into others. Now, it's time for you to refill your cup. And the people who truly love you will understand this shift. If they don't, it's not a reflection of your worth, but of their struggles and expectations. The ones who love you will celebrate this new chapter of your life, just as you should. Let go of the guilt, the constant self-judgment, and the fear of disappointing others. Embrace this chapter as a new beginning, one that is entirely yours to shape. You've been so generous with your love and care for others. Now it's time for you to be generous with yourself. You deserve joy, peace, and the freedom to live a life that fills your soul. Stop living for others and start living for yourself. You have more than earned it. It's time to take back the life you deserve. 3. Distance yourself from toxic relationships. Family is often held up as the foundation of our lives, a sacred place where we should find unconditional love, unwavering support, and a deep sense of belonging. It's supposed to be a sanctuary, a space where we are nurtured, celebrated, and cherished for who we are. But what happens when the people who are supposed to protect our hearts, the ones we call family, are the very ones who cause us the most pain? It's a harsh reality, and one that is so difficult to accept, but sometimes the ones closest to us are the ones who can hurt us the deepest. I'm sure you've felt it, the sting of a child's disrespect, a sibling's cruel words that feel like daggers to your soul, or a spouse's indifference that makes you feel invisible as if you're nothing more than a shadow in their life. These emotional wounds often go unspoken, buried under layers of guilt, shame, and obligation. Society has ingrained in us the belief that family is sacred and that loyalty to those we are bound to by blood should always come before our own mental and emotional well-being. And for many, it's hard to imagine life without the ties that bind us, even when they are suffocating us from the inside. So we endure. We swallow our pain, we make excuses for their behavior, and we convince ourselves that it's all just part of family life, that this is the way it's always been and the way it always will be. We tell ourselves that we should be grateful, that this is what family is about. But here's the painful truth that many of us overlook. Family bonds are never meant to come at the cost of your peace of mind, your self-worth, or your emotional health. A relationship, no matter how deeply rooted in history, blood, or tradition, is not sacred if it continuously drains your spirit and leaves you questioning your value. As we grow older, life has a way of giving us clarity that time is short and precious. Each day spent caught in the toxic grip of harmful relationships is another day robbed of the peace, joy, and fulfillment you deserve. Choosing to distance yourself from those who bring you harm is not an act of betrayal or selfishness. It is, in fact, an act of profound self-love and respect. It's a decision to honor yourself and your needs over the expectations and judgments of others. And yes, it can be one of the hardest decisions you'll ever make. But distancing yourself doesn't mean you stop caring, and it doesn't mean you abandon the values that make you who you are. It simply means acknowledging that love cannot truly thrive in a space filled with constant pain, manipulation, or negativity. Setting boundaries, difficult as it may feel, becomes an essential part of your healing journey. And sometimes, those boundaries will require you to walk away from relationships that you once thought were unshakable, relationships that you thought were meant to last forever. Imagine the incredible sense of freedom you could feel if you no longer had to endure the verbal assaults or actions that left you feeling small, worthless, and unappreciated. Imagine the weight that would lift from your heart when you are no longer held hostage by the toxicity of others. By creating distance from those who continually harm you, you make space for relationships that bring you joy, love, and light. You open the door to connections that nurture and uplift you, relationships rooted in mutual respect, kindness, and genuine care. Of course, this choice is not easy. It may bring moments of guilt, doubt, and even sorrow. You may question yourself, wondering if you're being too harsh, too selfish, or too distant. But always remember this. Your happiness matters. Your mental and emotional well-being are priceless, and they deserve to be protected at all costs. The people who truly love and care for you will understand and respect your need for peace. They will support your decision to create a healthier, more positive environment for yourself. And those who cannot respect your boundaries, Perhaps they were never meant to be a part of your life's inner circle in the first place. As you move forward on this journey, give yourself the grace to prioritize your own needs. Let go of the guilt that has held you captive for so long, and embrace the possibility of a life free from the constant weight of toxic relationships. At this stage in life, every moment counts, and you have every right to fill your days with people who lift you, who see your worth, and who offer you love and respect without hesitation. You deserve a life that is rich with positivity, peace, and unconditional love. 4. Stop waiting for recognition. There is a quiet ache, a persistent longing that tugs at the heart of so many who have devoted their lives to giving. It's a deep, silent ache, born from a quiet hope. A hope that one day, someone will finally recognize the sacrifices, the quiet acts of service, and the relentless giving that have defined so much of our existence. Perhaps you know this ache all too well. The longing for a sincere, heartfelt thank you from your children, the yearning to have someone finally notice all the times you put their needs above your own, the wish for all your years of selfless service to be met with a warmth of gratitude. This hope we hold for recognition is not only natural but profoundly human. After all, it's only natural to want our efforts and our sacrifices to be seen, to be valued. But the reality is that this desire for acknowledgement often becomes a heavy, suffocating burden. And the truth no one wants to admit is this: recognition doesn't always come. People, those closest to us, those we pour our hearts and souls into, can be forgetful, distracted by their own lives, or simply unaware of the depth of what we've given. And when that recognition doesn't come, we can feel invisible, unappreciated, even bitter. I've seen it before, this painful cycle of giving and waiting, of sacrificing time, energy, and love only to feel unnoticed. It's a suffocating feeling, and it often leads to resentment, confusion, and self-doubt. The desire for acknowledgement can make you question whether it was all worth it. But here's the truth: your sacrifices, your love, your care, they never lose their value just because no one else recognizes them. They are real, they are meaningful, and they have shaped lives in ways you may never fully understand. Whether or not anyone acknowledges your efforts doesn't change their significance. Instead of spending your precious energy waiting for others to notice, shift your focus inward. Take a moment to reflect on everything you've done: the late nights, the tough decisions, the times you gave with no expectation of return. Think of the quiet moments when you gave without hesitation, when you acted out of love even when it felt like no one was watching. That courage, that strength, that unwavering dedication. Let yourself feel the pride and the deep satisfaction of knowing that you acted with integrity and love. Let that be the recognition you need. When you release the need for external validation, you take back control of your happiness. You stop placing your worth in the hands of others, and instead, you place it in your own. You begin to realize that your value isn't contingent on whether someone notices or appreciates what you've done. This isn't to say that gratitude isn't important. Of course it is. But it's about understanding that your worth is not dependent on someone else's ability to express it. The real peace comes from within, from recognizing that your actions have already spoken volumes, whether anyone acknowledges them or not. Imagine the incredible peace that comes from letting go of the weight of unspoken recognition. Visualize a life where you're no longer replaying old sacrifices in your mind, wondering why they went unnoticed or feeling hurt that no one seemed to care. Instead, you can embrace the present moment with a lightness of spirit. You can move forward knowing that you don't need anyone's acknowledgement to feel whole, to feel seen. You already know what you've given, and that alone is enough. Let me be clear, this doesn't mean you stop caring, stop giving, or stop loving. It means you give from a place of abundance, from a place where love, kindness, and service flow freely without needing to be validated by others. It means honoring your efforts, recognizing the beauty in what you've done, and finding fulfillment in the simple truth that you have lived a life filled with generosity and love, regardless of whether or not others have noticed. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. At this stage in life, Your energy is far too precious to waste on waiting for gratitude that may never come. So, why not choose to focus on what truly matters? Choose to live fully, to love deeply and freely, and to find joy in the simple, yet profound truth that you've done your very best. And in the end, that alone, the knowledge that you've given all you have, is more than enough. It's more than anyone could ever ask of you. 5. Don't use your age as an excuse not to change. The world has this insidious way of whispering to us that as we age, our potential diminishes. It tells us that with each passing year, we should expect less from life and that the opportunity for growth and transformation grows smaller as time goes by. It convinces us that after a certain age, the clock has run out and that this is who we are now, stuck in some final version of ourselves. You've lived enough, it says. This is your place in the world. But I want to shout from the rooftops, this is an outright lie. Age is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a deeper, more fulfilling chapter. As long as you draw breath, as long as you feel the pulse of life within you, your story continues to unfold, and with it comes the possibility of transformation at any age. It's so easy to buy into the idea that age should limit us. It's easy to allow ourselves to use age as an excuse when we're faced with the daunting task of change or the allure of something new. I'm too old for this, we say when faced with an opportunity to try something different, something we've always wanted but never pursued. Maybe it's a dream you buried years ago, learning a new language, picking up an instrument, returning to school, or even starting a new business. Perhaps you've told yourself that breaking old habits or creating new routines is no longer for someone your age. You start to believe that change is something reserved for the young, those who still have their entire lives ahead of them, free from the weight of years lived. And with each year that passes, it feels like that window is closing. But if you listen closely, there's another voice, a voice not as loud but just as powerful, that stirs within you. This voice says, what if it's not too late? What if there's still so much more to explore, more to become, more to experience? That voice, that glimmer of hope, is the one that should be nurtured and followed. The truth is, that age is not an obstacle to change. It is the foundation upon which change can be built. Think about it. Over the years, you have gained immeasurable wisdom. You have weathered countless storms, faced challenges that once seemed insurmountable, and emerged stronger each time. You have learned the value of resilience, of patience, and of empathy. You've seen the world shift, and you've adapted to it. These are not weaknesses. These are your superpowers. With every experience you've accumulated, you've built a reservoir of strength that younger people can't even fathom. Imagine this. You are standing on the precipice of something new, something you've always wanted to do, or perhaps something you never even thought of, but that now sparks excitement within you. What would it feel like to pick up that hobby you've always admired from afar? What if you started the blog you've always dreamed of, or took that trip to a place that has been on your bucket list for decades? Maybe it's the idea of learning a new skill, one that challenges you and pushes you out of your comfort zone. Maybe it's the thought of mending old relationships or breaking free from patterns that have held you captive for years. The beautiful thing is that none of this is out of your reach. Age doesn't take away your capacity to experience joy, discovery, and new beginnings. The only thing standing in your way is the false belief that it's too late. Change is not about erasing the person you've been. It's not about trying to turn back time or becoming someone else. It's about using everything you've experienced, the highs and lows, the lessons learned, and the moments of triumph, as a springboard for the next phase of your life. The rich tapestry of your past isn't something to be discarded. It's the soil in which your future can grow. Change doesn't mean abandoning who you are. It's about taking the very best of yourself, the wisdom, the lessons, the strength, and transforming it into something even greater. Yes, it might be uncomfortable. Yes, it might be scary. But guess what? Growth has always demanded courage. And look at you. You've already proven that you have more courage than most. Think about all the ways you've already been brave in your life. Every decision to continue, every time you chose to rise after a fall, every moment when you fought for what mattered to you, these are the building blocks of your courage. Those small, everyday acts of bravery are the same ones that will carry you forward as you embark on new adventures, big or small. Just because you've reached a certain age doesn't mean that courage has worn thin. On the contrary, your courage has likely deepened with age. You've seen enough of life to understand that change, while intimidating, is often the gateway to something profoundly beautiful. So, I urge you to stop letting age define what you can or can't do. Don't let it limit your dreams. Instead, let it fuel your desire to live boldly, embrace the unknown, and create a life that's full of new possibilities. Age isn't a prison. It's an opportunity. It's an invitation to lean into your fullest potential, to tap into the endless well of experiences that only you possess. You are not defined by the years you've lived. You are defined by the strength, wisdom, and passion you still have within you. The person you are becoming is not limited by age, it's enriched by it. As long as you're alive, your story is not over. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The best chapters are yet to come. The best moments are ahead of you, and the world needs you to step into them with open arms and an open heart. You have more to offer, more to give, and more to experience. Trust me, the journey has just begun. The time for growth, for joy, for adventure. It's now, no matter how old you are. You deserve to live the fullest life possible, and that life starts today. 6. Don't cling to the past. Memories have a way of wrapping themselves around us, soft and comforting like an old, familiar blanket. There's a warmth in them, a sense of security, like visiting an old friend who knows you better than anyone else. These memories remind us of a time when life felt simpler, when things seemed clearer, or when everything had a certain magical glow to it. We cling to them in moments of uncertainty, drawing them near like treasures to remind us of a time when we felt alive in a way that seems so distant now. As we age, it becomes natural to visit those memories often, as they provide us with a sense of belonging and a connection to who we once were. There is a beauty in those moments, a joy that still lingers even when the present feels too overwhelming. Yet, here's the truth we often overlook. There's a delicate danger in holding on to these memories too tightly. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, back in my day, things were so much better, or if only I could go back to those days when life felt easier? Nostalgia has this way of pulling us back into the past with a kind of magnetic force that feels safe but can become suffocating if we're not careful. It's a trap that promises comfort but leaves us stuck in a time that no longer exists. There's something undeniably sweet about nostalgia. It tugs at our heartstrings, reminding us of the joy, love, and laughter we once experienced. But it also has a dark side, one that can cloud our vision of the present. The problem is that when we idealize the past, we convince ourselves that the best is behind us. We trick ourselves into believing that those were the glory days, and that the magic and happiness we once knew are out of reach, locked away in time, never to be found again. But the reality is this: life is still unfolding. It is still in motion, and it's happening now. It may not look like it did back then, and that's okay. We cannot live in the past and expect to find fulfillment in the future. The future is waiting for us, but it requires our participation, our presence, and our willingness to step forward. If we keep focusing on what's gone, we risk missing out on the endless opportunities that are right in front of us. The past is a part of our story. It helped shape who we are and molded us into the person we've become. But it is not the whole story, nor is it the final chapter. The past may have defined our journey up until now, but it doesn't have to define where we go from here. Clinging too tightly to what once was means we might miss the beauty of what is. The present may not look like the past. It may not have the same faces, the same locations, or the same sense of magic. It may not even have the same energy or excitement, and that's all right. Life is in constant motion. The people around us may change, our circumstances may evolve, and the world we live in might feel unfamiliar at times. But if we are willing to open our eyes and our hearts, we'll see that the present is full of its kind of wonder, its kind of magic. The key is in embracing the small, often quiet moments that so many overlook. These moments might not make headlines, but they are what give life depth and richness. Can you imagine waking up each day with a heart full of curiosity? A heart that's not weighted down by the sorrow of lost moments, but excited by the new experiences the day might bring? Can you picture yourself waking up and asking, what new joys, discoveries, and new connections will this day bring? It's easy to get caught up in the grind, to let life pass by while we're stuck in the cycle of looking backward. But if we allow ourselves to pause and experience each day, we'll find that joy exists in even the smallest of things. A bird singing outside your window, the sound of children laughing in the distance, a phone call from a friend you haven't spoken to in years, the sun casting a golden glow on everything it touches. These moments may seem insignificant, but they are what make life truly precious. They remind us that life is beautiful, no matter where we are in it, no matter how old we get. Imagine the power of waking up with a renewed sense of wonder, determined to find happiness in the present. Instead of searching for the magic of yesterday, imagine discovering the quiet joys of today. Picture yourself savoring the feeling of a hug from someone you love, taking pleasure in the comfort of a warm meal, or delighting in the peace that comes from a solitary walk. These moments are life's treasures. They don't demand anything from us except for our presence. The beauty of life doesn't always lie in grand, dramatic events. Sometimes, it's in the quiet moments of reflection, in the simplicity of just being here, right now. Let the past be a soft, loving reminder of where you've been, a place of reflection rather than a prison. It is a beautiful chapter in your story, but it is not the end. We are all so quick to think that the best is behind us, that somehow, with age or change, the best parts of life have already passed. But life is not over. It is still unfolding, still inviting us to embrace the future with open arms. The opportunities that await are as abundant as the stars in the sky. They are waiting for you to take that first step, to let go of the weight of memories that keep you stuck, and to move forward into the richness of what's yet to come. Life is not about looking back with longing. It's about looking forward with hope. The magic of life is never behind us. It is always in front of us, waiting to be experienced, felt, and lived. Life is happening now. The journey is still unfolding. You are not finished. The best is yet to come, and it's waiting for you to embrace it. Open your heart to the beauty that surrounds you today, because you are still capable of so much joy, so much growth, and so much wonder. Don't let the past steal the possibility of the future from you. Life is here. Life is now. And it is yours for the taking. 7. Practice moderation in all pleasures. Life is a magnificent journey full of pleasures, both the simple and the profound. Each day presents us with countless opportunities to experience joy, from the comforting embrace of a favorite meal and the warmth of a hug from a loved one, to the serenity we find in our daily routines. These moments, whether small or significant, breathe color into our lives, adding depth and texture to the otherwise mundane. They are the threads that weave the fabric of our existence, making the ordinary extraordinary. Yet, despite the inherent beauty of these pleasures, there's a truth we must face. The very pleasures that enhance our lives can also diminish them if we aren't careful. When pleasure becomes a habit, a routine, or worse, a compulsive need, it loses its luster and begins to drain, rather than nourish, our spirit. Perhaps you found yourself in this very place, as I have at times, when the small joys of life no longer feel as satisfying as they once did. It's so easy for comfort to transform from a fleeting source of happiness into a crutch that we rely on to fill the voids in our lives. Whether it's food, entertainment, physical pleasure, or even an endless scroll through social media, these indulgences can seem harmless at first. But if left unchecked, they quietly take root, becoming habits that we lean on, not because they add value, but because they momentarily distract us from the deeper emotions we don't want to confront. We turn to them when we're bored, when we're lonely, or when we simply don't know how to face the deeper, sometimes painful layers of our inner selves. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. These habitual indulgences, while not inherently harmful, can begin to erode our sense of fulfillment. Think about how often we turn to food when we're stressed, or binge-watch shows as a way to avoid uncomfortable emotions or thoughts. These things that once brought joy can eventually feel empty and shallow, as they no longer connect us to what truly matters in life. They start to fill a void that could only be truly healed by engaging with the real world, by facing the emotions and relationships that lie beneath the surface. Instead of being a source of nourishment, they become a barrier to the deeper satisfaction we crave. Through my own experience, I've come to understand that the true sweetness of life isn't found in excess but in balance. Moderation is the key that unlocks the ability to fully savor the pleasures life offers without becoming consumed by them. It's about finding the delicate equilibrium where we can enjoy the fruits of life, but not let them overshadow everything else. Life is not about indulging endlessly in what brings temporary joy. It's about engaging in moments that enrich our souls, ignite our passions, and build meaningful connections with others. When we practice moderation, we create room in our lives for a richness that extends far beyond the pleasures of the moment. Imagine waking up to a day filled not just with fleeting indulgences, but with intentional experiences that nurture your body, mind, and spirit. What if, instead of seeking comfort in a quick fix, you explored a new interest, learned a skill, or engaged in a meaningful conversation with a loved one? Picture taking a long walk in nature, where the only sounds are the rustling of leaves and the rhythm of your breath. These moments don't just pass the time, they create memories that last, nourishing you in ways that no temporary pleasure can. They deepen your connection to the world and the people around you, reminding you of the richness that comes with being fully present in the moment. These are the experiences that truly fulfill us, giving our lives meaning and purpose. This is not about denying yourself the pleasures that life offers. It's about choosing wisely and making intentional decisions about where to invest your energy. Your time, attention, and emotions are precious resources, and when you direct them toward the things that truly matter, whether through nurturing relationships, pursuing passions that excite you, or taking time to simply be present, you create a life that is filled with deeper satisfaction. By practicing moderation, you not only experience the pleasures of life more fully, but you also open the door to a deeper sense of peace and contentment that comes from living intentionally, with purpose. Moderation is not a form of restriction. It's a choice, a powerful act of self-awareness that allows you to enjoy life's pleasures without losing sight of what truly matters. It's a reminder that we are not meant to live in a constant state of indulgence. Instead, we're meant to savor the moments that truly feed our souls, recognizing that the simplest joys often bring the deepest rewards. A walk in the fresh air, a meaningful conversation, or the quiet contentment of sitting in the presence of someone you love. These are the moments that remind us of what it means to live fully. They fill us up in ways that the fleeting pleasures of the world can never quite match. I encourage you to take a step back and reflect on the habits that have quietly crept into your life. Have they become distractions or crutches that prevent you from fully experiencing life? Are they keeping you from engaging with the people, passions, and moments that truly bring fulfillment? If so, it might be time to reassess and create more space for the things that matter most. Seek out the joys that nurture your mind, body, and soul. Look for moments that help you grow, connect, and experience life with greater presence and intention. And remember, the most profound pleasures are often the simplest ones. It's the early morning light filtering through the trees during a walk in the park, the hearty laughter shared with friends over a homemade meal, or the quiet satisfaction of reading a book that stirs your soul. These are the pleasures that don't fade. They grow richer with time. They are the ones who remind you that life, when lived with mindfulness and balance, is far more beautiful and fulfilling than any fleeting indulgence could ever be. So, choose wisely. Choose moderation. Allow yourself to experience life's pleasures in a way that enhances your soul, rather than dulling it. In doing so, you will find a life full of richness and depth, one that nourishes not just your body, but your heart and mind. 8. Embrace gratitude and find joy in simplicity. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is a profound, transformative force in our lives, a quiet superpower that we often overlook in the hustle and bustle of our everyday existence. It can change the way we perceive the world around us, turning ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. Yet, in the rush of daily life, we often forget to stop, breathe, and take stock of all that we have. We get swept up in the endless cycle of work, obligations, and distractions, and before we know it, we've missed the quiet blessings that surround us. As we grow older, these blessings become even more important. Gratitude is no longer just a nice idea. It becomes a vital part of navigating life. It serves as a compass, always pointing us back to peace and calm, even when the world feels uncertain, chaotic, or overwhelming. I want you to pause and think for a moment. What if, just for today, you started each day with gratitude, taking the time to acknowledge the small joys that make life so rich and meaningful? Perhaps it's the warmth of the morning sun gently kissing your face as you step outside, the cool, fresh air that fills your lungs with each breath, or the comforting rhythm of your daily routine that provides a sense of stability in an ever-changing world. These moments, though they may seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, hold a beauty that is both simple and profound. Yet, they are often overlooked because we are too busy focusing on what we don't have, or what we think we're missing. But when we allow ourselves to embrace gratitude, these simple moments shine brightly, revealing their deep beauty and meaning. Gratitude opens our eyes to the richness of the present moment, allowing us to see that life, in all its imperfections, is filled with gifts. I know that life is not always easy. I'm not suggesting we pretend that everything is perfect or that we ignore the very real challenges we face, especially as we age. Growing older can bring with it feelings of loss, changes in our health, and a sense of disconnection from a world that seems to move faster with each passing day. We may struggle with physical limitations, face the death of loved ones, or simply feel as though we don't belong in a world that is constantly changing. These are heavy burdens to carry, and no amount of positive thinking can erase the reality of these struggles. However, gratitude does not ask us to deny these realities. Rather, it allows us to live alongside them, acknowledging the pain and hardship while still finding light in the darkness. It teaches us to focus on what remains, not what has been lost, on what we have, not what we don't. Gratitude shifts our perspective, helping us see that even in our most difficult moments, there is always something to be thankful for. Finding joy in simplicity doesn't mean we should lower our expectations or settle for less than we deserve. It doesn't mean we should resign ourselves to a life of mediocrity or a lack of ambition. Rather, it invites us to fully appreciate the richness of what is already within our reach. The joy that comes from simple things is often far greater than any material possession or fleeting success could ever bring. Think about the joy that arises from a deep conversation with an old friend, those moments when the world falls away, and the only thing that matters is the connection between you. Or consider the satisfaction of creating something with your own hands, whether it's a meal for your family, a beautiful garden, or a piece of art that captures a part of your soul. There is something deeply fulfilling about these experiences, something that speaks to the heart in a way that goes beyond words. And then there's the quiet peace that comes from observing nature, the changing seasons, the blooming flowers, the rustling of leaves in the wind. These are not just distractions from life's difficulties. They are life, in all its unvarnished beauty. These moments, small as they may seem, carry with them a deep and abiding truth. They are life, lived in its purest, most beautiful form. Gratitude, when practiced consistently, also has the power to deepen and enrich our relationships with others. When we take the time to acknowledge and express our thanks for the people in our lives, we create bonds that are grounded in love and mutual respect. Gratitude helps us see the goodness in others, and when we express our thanks, we invite more goodness into our relationships. It can be as simple as saying, "Thank you" for a small gesture or acknowledging the sacrifices someone has made for us. But those words, spoken with sincerity, have the power to open hearts and strengthen connections. When we show gratitude to the people around us, we help them feel seen, valued, and appreciated. We create a space for kindness to flourish, for love to grow, and for compassion to flow freely. It's a beautiful cycle. When we give thanks, we receive even more to be thankful for. Gratitude is a gift that keeps on giving, a silent force that can transform the way we experience our relationships and the world around us. At this stage of life, we have a unique opportunity to slow down and truly savor the moments that matter. We don't have to rush through life anymore, checking things off a never-ending to-do list. Instead, we can choose to be present, to fully experience the joy and beauty that life offers us, right here and right now. Gratitude teaches us to appreciate what is already in our lives and to savor the moments of connection, peace, and joy that are often so fleeting. When we choose to embrace gratitude, we create a sense of abundance, a richness that no material wealth or fleeting success could ever match. We come to understand that every day is a gift, every moment is precious, and every breath is a blessing. And in this awareness, we cultivate a life that is full of peace, purpose, and quiet joy. Gratitude isn't just an occasional practice or a nice idea. It is a way of life. It is a profound, transformative way to experience the world, to see the beauty in the ordinary, and to find joy in the simplest of moments. As we grow older, gratitude becomes even more essential. It is the foundation upon which we build a life that is rich with meaning, connection, and peace. So, let us embrace it fully, with open hearts and minds, and allow it to transform our lives in ways we never thought possible. Because when we choose gratitude, we choose to see the world as a place of endless possibility and beauty, no matter our age, our circumstances, or the challenges we face. 9. Invest in relationships that matter. When you pause and reflect on the journey of your life, there's a deep truth that becomes undeniable. The relationships you've nurtured over the years are the foundation of your happiness, growth, and fulfillment. It's the people who have been by your side through the peaks of joy and the valleys of heartbreak, the quiet moments of solitude and the bustling chaos of life. These are the individuals who color your world with meaning, giving shape and purpose to your story. However, as time moves forward and priorities shift, it's crucial to acknowledge that not all relationships are created equal, and it's these very relationships that need our time, energy, and attention. In a world where time is a limited resource, and energy can often feel scattered, it's vital to direct your focus toward relationships that truly nourish your soul. Investing in these kinds of connections isn't just wise, it's necessary for your well-being. Life isn't about maintaining a long list of people in your life. It's about nurturing those who truly make your heart lighter, your mind clearer, and your spirit fuller. There's a deep, almost sacred joy in sharing your time with those who genuinely value you, not out of obligation, but because they hold space in their hearts for your unique existence. Think for a moment about those special people, the ones whose very presence lights up your world. It could be that loyal friend who sees right through the surface and understands your heart without needing words. Or perhaps it's a family member whose unconditional love and support remind you that you are never truly alone, no matter what life throws at you. These are the people who show up for you, who embrace you with understanding, kindness, and respect, and who leave you feeling seen, heard, and appreciated in ways words simply cannot express. These are the relationships that matter. These are the bonds that deserve your time, your care, and your energy. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. But it's equally important to remember that some relationships, no matter how much they may have once meant to you, no longer serve your growth or happiness. Some ties have grown cold, and relationships have become strained, not because of malice or wrongdoing, but because life has taken you down different paths. There are people who, despite all efforts, drain you rather than fill you with the joy of shared connection. Letting go of these relationships isn't a sign of weakness or cruelty. It's an act of self-respect and self-care. In releasing what no longer adds value to your life, you create space for deeper, more meaningful connections. Relationships that uplift, inspire, and support you in ways that you deserve. This stage of life is also an incredibly powerful opportunity to invite new relationships into your world. We all experience loneliness at some point, and it can feel like an overwhelming weight. Yet, by taking the brave step to reach out, whether through community groups, shared hobbies, or even volunteering, you open yourself to the possibility of meeting people who truly resonate with your values. You never know when you might cross paths with someone who will bring a new perspective into your life, someone who will enrich your world in ways you never thought possible. The beauty of life is that it's never too late to form new bonds, make new friends, to discover connections that will become your new source of support and joy. Above all, never lose sight of the fact that the quality of your relationships is infinitely more important than the quantity. A few meaningful connections, those deep, heartfelt bonds, can feed your soul in ways that hundreds of shallow acquaintances never could. Prioritize the people who truly care for you, who celebrate your presence in their lives, and who make every moment feel richer simply by being there. These are the relationships worth cherishing, and they are the ones that will help you grow, heal, and thrive as you continue your journey. In investing in relationships that truly matter, you're honoring yourself. You're telling the universe that you deserve love, respect, and companionship that are real, reciprocal, and fulfilling. By surrounding yourself with the right people, you create a life that is full of warmth, understanding, and the kind of connections that make every moment more beautiful. And in that, you will find peace, joy, and a profound sense of belonging. Thank you for taking the time to reflect on the importance of investing in the relationships that truly matter. As we wrap up today, think about the valuable insights you've gathered from this discussion. What have you learned about nurturing meaningful connections in your life? What's one thing that you've realized is essential to your happiness and well-being, and that you'll commit to practicing moving forward? I'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections. Please comment below with one lesson you've learned from this video that you'll carry with you and put into action in your own life. Let's continue this conversation together and support each other in creating relationships that truly uplift and enrich our lives. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable content. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.